Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Welcome to November. It is November 1st, and we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Check out our atmospheric river. It's with us, and you can see the storm system developing right on the backside of this frontal boundary, pushing towards the coastline. It's already kicking up some high winds. Hoquiam gusting 52, Astoria 51. We're getting some 40s up and down the Oregon coast here as well, and that's going to start pushing across some interior portions as we go through this morning. So we're looking at the air mass characteristics map, and you can see the warm, moist air to the south helping to power this atmospheric river, along with the very cold air there across the Gulf of Alaska, pushing this system into our region. So we're going to dive into those details here. We'll take a look at what's coming next week, as always, as we go through the video this morning. And go check out your barographs on your weather stations. You'll see them dropping down. Look at the pressure fall here over the last few hours, combined with the Doppler radars, and you can see the spin up here of our system as it approaches the northwest Washington coastline, already kicking up winds, as I mentioned. Now, this is something interesting here. So every time apparently I do my weather briefings, and one of my wife's buddies there, the cat comes up and likes to watch my video. As soon as it hears my voice, he says the cat will run up to the TV and then chase my pointer around too. So yeah, kind of fun stuff there. Thought that was interesting. Just like to share that with you. Now, taking a look at what is going on. So we still got wind advisories across the region. We got flood watches ongoing. Again, a lot of heavy precipitation falling out there. We got high surf advisories. Just a classic, proper introduction into November, as we got some pretty stormy weather. And you can see that high surf advisory goes up and down the Oregon, Washington coast. I would consider that for Vancouver Island as well. And some wind advisories out there you can see across portions of eastern Oregon. It does include places like Madras. There's Pendleton there. And you can see some gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And then as we go up towards Spokane, also some wind advisories are out there for Spokane, Ritzville, Pasco, Tri-Cities, Walla Walla as well. So heads up as we go through this afternoon, those winds will be picking up. Now, looking at where we are right about now, there's that low pressure center. We saw it on the infrared satellite imagery. It is deepening and pushing across the region. And again, the winds are starting to kick up. That low continues to deepen as it moves across the Rocky Mountains and then out of our region. We get a bit of a high pressure build back there as we go on into Sunday, but then another system's going to roll in at times on Monday, and then we get some stronger lows out there and some more potent frontal systems rolling in towards the region as we go through next week, which could coincide with some king tide action. So we got to watch out for that, and I'll show you the latest on that here more in a moment. Now, if we take a look at what's going, the NAM is probably doing a little bit of a better job. The high resolution is underplaying things a little bit. Again, Astoria 51, Hoquiam 52. So you can see pretty close out there. It might have been underdoing some of the stuff coming towards the Oregon coast, but probably better than what the high resolution is showing. Clearly did not capture that gust of 52 at Hoquiam. And we scroll through the next few hours, and you can see Seattle 48, only 39 on the high resolution. Big difference there in wind strength, and 50 for Everett versus 40. That's a big difference as well. Probably overdoing it in some locations. Like I think the Willamette Valley is probably headed for some mid 30s. I don't expect to see upper 40s there for the Willamette Valley or Portland International Airport. It's possible, but I think the NAM is probably overdoing some of that. But in some cases, it's probably more accurate than the high resolution model. So, weather models are not perfect, and this is kind of a good example of that. But if we check out the European model, it's not doing too bad. It doesn't look like, and it says 48 for Seattle, up towards 50 again for Everett, and some gusty winds out there, and especially across the higher terrain. Then it kicks across some eastern Washington as well, probably peaking there for Spokane, maybe upper 30s towards 40 miles per hour. Some of the higher terrain get some big gusts, but 48 is a proper blow for some of Seattle, the city proper. So watch out for that. Lots of leaves on trees still, so you could get some power outages associated with it. And you see some of these gusty winds in the coastal areas, which are already verifying, but probably a more realistic view here for the Willamette Valley, gusting in towards the mid 30s. Now, taking a look at where we're already at, again, I mentioned that you can see Newport now, a new gust there up towards 47 miles per hour. Not yet here for the interior portions, but that is going to be coming here over the next couple hours, starting to get some 40 mile per hour gusts across the higher terrain of Oregon. And again, there's that 52 for Hoquiam. Now, this is that low pressure system developing there. And I mean, it's just been raining cats and dogs last night. Woke up and checked my Davis weather station. It was saying that. And look at this precipitation, just quite heavy across some of the region. That starts to wrap up as we go through the early afternoon hours. But the convergence zone will stay with us for some portions of northern King, Snohomish County, and continue some of that shower activity there as we go on to tonight and keep some of the shower activity going through tomorrow. North Cascades, a lot of western BC. Then we get a little bit of a break here Sunday night and Monday for portions of Washington, Oregon, but the next system starts bearing down on us there, and it may spread precipitation up into Washington. But what we're really watching here is the next round of storms. Look at that powerful frontal system there as we go through Wednesday of next week, and then another deep low right up towards the north tip of Vancouver Island as we go through the day on Thursday with low pressure, winds, big waves, and king tides. That is not a good combination for some of the coastal areas. I'll show you the latest on that here more in a moment as well. Now, nice to see that the Weather Prediction Center is showing and concentrating on the Pacific Northwest, but this is nothing that we haven't already talked about. But there is the potential for some of that flooding out there, as we know. Now, look at it, maximum individual wave height. As we go through the day today, we are still picking up that wave activity here as we go through this morning. So be very careful. Vancouver Island coast, Washington, Oregon coast as well. And then as we go through Sunday, still elevated wave action. So I don't want to lull anybody into a false sense of security. Monday, still elevated. But by the time we go towards Tuesday, get a little bit of a break there. But then as we go on in towards Thursday, look at the waves return. And that is going to coincide with the king tides coming up as we go through this week. And that can be a problem even down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, Strait of Georgia into the Puget Sound also, again, with some of these abnormally high tides. So yeah, we really have to watch that. And when you combine that with lower atmospheric pressure, which of course allows the sea level to bulge, and then you get some strong winds with these big waves and the king tides, man, you can really cause some chaos along the coastal areas. And if we take a look at Cape Disappointment as we close in on the high tide this morning, about 7.3 feet. So that's not bad. But look at what's coming on Wednesday and Thursday. You're up towards 10 feet. That's over 2.5 feet difference in the sea level there. And then if you get lower pressure and big winds, that can be very problematic. And you can see, again, this is today, and this is Saturday. So as we scroll through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on in through the early portion of next weekend, we start to calm things down by the time we get out towards November 10th and 11th there. But yeah, we definitely have the king tides coming during a stormy period, so it could get interesting. Now, also, these are known as spring tides as well. So it has nothing to do with the time of year or the season of spring, but that is popularly known as king tides and refers to the springing forth of the tide during the new and the full moon. You can imagine the sun and the moon there pulling on that tidal bulge across Earth at the same time really exacerbates those tides. And the neap tide is when the moon is off to the right angle of the sun. So relative to the Earth. Now, taking a look here at Long Beach. So I clicked on some of these stations, Bay Center as well, and check out some of these winds are already ramping up here this morning, as I mentioned. And then you can see this one at Bay Center actually picked up a 63 mile per hour gust. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just an exposed location there, but you can see the wind has been ramping up there this morning, as I mentioned. And I checked out this one here, just kind of randomly Moore Road, but look at this Tempest station. You can see, you can just watch this wherever you are. Obviously I'm not on the coast out there, and you can see, or wherever this may be, it may not be the coast exactly, but we've got the winds updating every few seconds. Very fun stuff. You can see the pressure and the temperature. You can click on this stuff and you can graph this out. It is moderately raining. You can see how much rain has fallen since midnight and how much rain fell yesterday. Does UV index. So click on that link down below if you want to save 10% off. I mean, it even tells you how long it rained at your house. Now, looking at, I grabbed this across some of the central Puget Sound, and you can see, look at this, heavy precipitation has been falling off and on there since early this morning. So yeah, just kind of fun that it shows you on the haptic rain gauge just how, what the actual rain rate has been. Now, I also wanted to concentrate a little bit on the snowfall with the convergence zone tonight. You can see Stevens Pass could get some wintry driving conditions as you're going on through tonight into tomorrow morning. So heads up for that for some of Highway 2. Doesn't look like a huge issue for Snoqualmie Pass or anything of that nature. And we scroll through the 6-day period and maybe another shot of some snowfall for some of the higher terrain here. But Stevens Pass, I mean, we'll see about that. If are they going to get 5 inches of measurable snowfall? We'll watch that here over the next few days. We're just going to want to drive home that point. The convergence zone does have the potential to drop some snowfall for Stevens in some of the central Cascades of Washington. Now, this was issued yesterday, monthly temperature outlook for the entire month of November. And you can see Pacific Northwest, we're in the above average signal. That would just mean we're more in that southwesterly flow And yeah, we're not looking at any big heat waves or anything like that. So just slightly above normal during that time frame. And monthly precipitation for the month of November, clearly the above average signal is there. And we're already off to just a roaring start here. I mean, I've almost got an inch at my house, and we're just in, the first 8 hours of November. Also, the experimental product's been showing up for a slight risk of some heavy precipitation. Just thought I'd show that since it does include the Pacific Northwest. Look at that as we get off in towards mid-November. Maybe we'll get some heavier snowfall at that point. Who knows? We'll check back on that daily. And also the risk for high winds, which makes sense with everything else. So yeah, check out the Patreon page if you like. There's the Tempest Weather Station. I might go out and live stream here today. I'm going to go get my setup going and probably get out there and try to see what I can capture. Probably just right around the central Puget Sound and maybe have some fun with that. I got my Starlink yesterday, so I plan on testing that. Maybe I'll test that today as well. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this all again either later today on a live stream or tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.